We're here in Atlanta where more than a quarter of tech talent is black. That equates to just about the same number as in San Francisco, New York, and Austin combined. Last year, many companies announced plans for Atlanta offices, and they committed to hiring black and diverse employees. We've confirmed with Walmart, Cisco, T-Mobile, Moderna, FanDuel, and Airbnb they are moving forward with those plans, and so is Visa. We're actually right now here in their new Atlanta office where they hope to have 1,000 employees with a focus on hiring black workers. And I'm joined by Visa Executive Chair Al Kelly. Al, thank you so much for being here.
Frank, pleasure to be with you.
All right, we've all seen the headlines over recent months. So much belt tightening in tech, so many layoffs, tens of thousands of people laid off. However, Visa is still hiring. How important is hiring diverse people and also the opening of this office for your vision of the company?
Well, Frank, we operate in 240 countries and territories around the world, and I want our workforce to look like the world's population, and it's very important to us. And when we looked at our footprint in the United States and our desire to increase the number of blacks and Latinx people who worked for us, frankly, when you look at California versus Georgia, there's 5 times higher black population in Georgia than it is in California. So this looked like a great destination. And then when we started talking to Fulton County and the state and the city of Atlanta, we realized that it was a fantastic place to come. And we're having great early success, and we will be continuing to hire, and we're looking for good talent to join our team in Atlanta and around the world.
Yeah, we spoke to your chief diversity officer yesterday. She mentioned that the city has a pipeline of talent at the colleges and universities, including HBCUs. In general, when it comes to big businesses, that's been an untapped pipeline. How do you see yourself and the company, of course, tapping into that resource?
Well, I think we're already forming relationships with many of the colleges and universities here in the greater Atlanta area. And we want to do things to help them. We want to become good partners. We want to go onto their campuses and help educate their students. But we also ultimately want their students to come and work for us. So there's this incredible number of schools here, and we plan on being partners with as many of them as we possibly can.
All right. I have to also ask you about a lot of these headlines when it comes to artificial intelligence or AI. A lot of talk about the use of AI when it comes to search and for cloud. I know that Visa uses AI when it comes to fraud detection and cybersecurity. Last year, you prevented about $27 billion in fraud with AI. Are there other functions with payments and AI that you plan to explore? And will Visa join this AI arms race through M&A or some other way?
Well, believe it or not, we've been involved in AI for 30 years. Our first AI application was in 1993. So it's something that we're quite familiar with. And obviously, the trust in the ecosystem of payments is so important. So our focus is to try to reduce the risk throughout the payments ecosystem, both at Visa and in the greater industry of the movement of funds for commerce or for any other reason. And AI plays a very, very important role in that and has been a proven commodity, a proven capability to reduce the amount of risk and fraud in the system. Critical, though, is being responsible in using AI. And I chair the technology committee at the Business Roundtable, and this is something where we developed a set of principles around the responsible use of AI. And 2 things I learned in that process. One is there are an incredible amount of industries, cross-section of industries that are using AI in amazing ways that are helping advance the world. And corporations are very serious about the fact that we need to be very, very responsible when we're using AI, and that's certainly what we're attempting to do at Visa every single day.
Al, if I could jump in, it's Kelly here back in the studio, and thanks again for joining us today. I have a question about sort of Visa as a tell on the economy right now. If you go back and look at 2008, as late as April, executives at the time were saying they didn't see a slowdown, even though we'd already been in recession. Can you talk to us about what you're seeing now? Obviously, we saw the latest quarter very strong in terms of payment trends. Is there anything now, similarities or differences, that tell you about whether the economy is slowing down and possibly heading towards recession?
Well, thank you, Kelly. First thing I'd say is Visa is an incredibly different company in 2023 than we were in 2008. We have many, many more debit cards, which tend to get used more in tougher economic situations. We're much more focused on everyday spending, which tends to continue to hold up quite well in many, many economic cycles. We, in fact, are seeing travel come back after this. We've never had a situation where a 3-year pandemic tied people down. And I think that people are still very, very anxious to get out and see relatives and check things off their bucket list that they weren't able to do over the last 3 years. So I said last week that the consumer looks boringly consistent, and I believe that continues to be the case. We're watching very, very closely, Kelly, and we don't see anything in our data in the United States or in any other big market around the world indicating that the consumer is softening. But it's something that we'll continue to watch very carefully. We know that there is some movement away from brands to generics. We know that in some cases people are spending more on the day-to-day needs, and therefore spending less on discretionary items. But we've had things like fuel bounce back now as the prices come back down, so it's far less burden on consumers to buy gasoline than it was, say, 4 or 5 months ago. So far, we continue to feel quite good about how well the consumer around the world is holding up, Kelly.
So, Hal, before we let you go, one quick follow-up. You didn't answer this one part. Is Visa exploring M&A to expand your AI capabilities?
M&A is very much on our radar screen. We're looking at companies all the time. We're never going to comment on very specific things that we will look at, but growth through acquiring both people and resources and technology is something that we've proven to do over the course of the last 5 years in a fairly big way. And it's something that certainly is on our radar screen as we continue to look at capabilities that will make our clients better and smarter and will help protect consumers.
All right. Visa Executive Chairman Al Kelly, thank you so much for joining us. Tyler and Kelly, back over to you.
All right, Frank, thank you. Thanks for bringing that to us. We really appreciate it. Our own Frank Holland.